Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with
Sean,
Chris,
Lee.
An exciting Monaco.
It was all right.
it was better than you'd expect, wasn't it? There was a lot more going on. There was a bit of weather. But I think the fact
Which
that
always helps.
it does help. It's definitely a lot more to it than Monaco's we have seen of late. But yeah, it's still, I think it's still in the exciting for Monaco category, isn't it?
It's as good a Monaco as you could hope for, without having like one of the best Monacos ever. You know, as far as a good Monaco goes, that you don't get them much better than that.
Not the Monaco we wanted, but the Monaco we deserved.
Maybe it probably. I mean, I don't quite understand the negativity the race got. I thought. It had me on the edge of my seat for the race. I was never bored watching it.
Oh no, I mean there was a lot going on all the time, except for the bits when there wasn't. But that's when there was the red flags.
That's the thing, isn't it? My opinion is that and I've just said it before we start recording, that if it was any other circuit, you'd think you might get an overtake, but because it was Monaco, you were pretty certain they were just going to follow each other the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's
fair.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, something like Baku has proved that street circuits can work. But
I mean, IndyCar proves that street circuits can work. So does Formula A. You know, street circuits can work. It's just that's a particularly narrow street circuit.
yeah,
It's narrow and it's tight, and they're doing the lap in, like, what is it now? Like race trims, like, what, 1 minute 20 by the time they've shed some fuel?
Mm-hmm.
So it was supposed to be 78, ended up getting cut to 77 laps. But and then we didn't even get that far. I don't know. Like, I've had this debate internally, and I think we've had it
64
on the
laps.
64 it was in the end, was it?
Yeah.
And then you know, we've had it on the podcast, you know, before, but Formula One was okay when we didn't go to Monaco because of COVID. Formula One was just fine.
I think Formula One would be fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been on the camp of we should scrap Monaco for a long time, but it suddenly sort of dawned on me that we have a 23 race season.
22 now.
22.
Yeah. I mean, and it could possibly end up with a couple more races, you know, within the next year or two. If Monaco goes, nothing like Monaco ever happens again. It's a bit like the TT in that respect. If we were to suddenly decide to stop doing the TT because it was too dangerous or something like that, that doesn't happen. Somewhere, you know, you don't have something like that ever again in history. And I think Monaco's the same. And if that means, because Saturday's qualifying was really fucking exciting, and it's like qualifying sessions are rarely as exciting as a Monaco qualifying session.
Yeah, because that's where the race not is won, but if you have a shit qualifying, there's very little chance you're going to do well in the race.
Yeah, and you know you're always like a fraction away from somebody making a fucking like catastrophic error and ending up in bits. You know, it's the so I think it's worth a couple of average hours on a Sunday to keep something as historic as Monaco, is where my head's landed at it. And you're right, it's not suitable for modern Formula One, and it's not fucking ideal for racing those cars around. But there's something special about it, and that I think needs preserved.
I wonder if it could be made better for modern F1, because they're doing this big reclaimed land project, aren't they? Kind of just off by where the entrance to the tunnel is. I think
that
it
used
is.
to be C.
Yeah. They did say when they started doing that project that they didn't rule out adapting the track to go that way. There is potential they could make that wider and make it slightly more racy.
Yeah, I think that would be ideal, wouldn't it, to actually change it and make it better. I saw something else there was something that was brought up in another podcast. I can't remember which one it was, and somebody was saying about how there's various rules that are slightly different and slightly tweaked for Monaco. So why not have like an extra tire compound? So you're guaranteed like a 3-stop race, for instance.
Make it so they've got to use all 3 compounds during the race.
Or if it's a dry race, you've got to use all three compounds. Just something, if Monaco needs help to be interesting, then let's just help it be interesting. There's no, I don't really think it. I don't think it matters that much. People moan about gimmicks and stuff like that, but I don't think that would be gimmicky. If that's the case, we shouldn't make them use 2 compounds.
Yeah, I mean, have it so that make it a bit more of a challenge or a racing challenge.
Yeah, make it so there's more variation in strategy. So if you can't overtake on the track, then let's give the strategists an opportunity to try and strategize themselves past somebody.
I mean, after Sunday, there's definitely a few things that do need changing.
Ferrari's strategy department.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not even talking about anything to do with the teams yet. How can they lose power to the grid?
Yeah, that's sloppy, isn't it? I mean, do we know whether it was weather related or if it was just somebody unplugged the wrong thing? Or
I think it was weather related.
See, that's
they
not
lost
good.
power in South Korea, didn't they? One year, was it the last year? I think they raced in South Korea. They lost power at the race circuit, and not everybody who was there realized that they were still on air. I think that the only thing that was just about working was people's commentary boxes. That was it. All the lights were off, everything. Luckily, I don't think anybody came into the pits before before the power came back on, because I don't know what would have happened, because obviously all the air guns and things are powered by compressors. So,
I mean, they got through it. More power to them.
That tumbleweed that we were talking about during the Patreon show?
Hey. There's only 4 people here, including myself. Somebody out there laughed. Somebody in the future is in a car somewhere driving to work going, it's so funny, that.
Yeah,
and that's all they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's the amount of laughter I'm usually happy with after one of mine. Basically what happened was the rain put the power out for the whole of the start system, and the reason that they didn't have a standing start at all during the day was they hadn't managed to get the start lights fixed in time.
Fantastic.
So they couldn't have a standing start because there were no lights to do it, which is why they had to restart twice.
It's great, this, isn't it?
Right.
The pinnacle of
ridiculous.
motorsport, and we've not even got waterproof lights.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, the race is managed by the government of Monaco or something like that, or the Automobile Club de Monaco?
Yeah, it's the ACM, who are also in charge of the TV broadcast with the local broadcasters, and it's the only race on the calendar that Formula One aren't the host broadcaster for.
Yeah. Also, the sponsors don't tie in with what Formula One already has contracts.
Which is why you've got a Rolex advert, which is standard as part of the F1 contract, followed immediately by a bridge with Tag Heuer all across it.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Which is the official watch of the Monaco Grand Prix.
So yes, it doesn't work, does it? Do you know what I mean? There's so many things that need to change, and from what I can tell, Formula One as an entity has been pushing for Monaco to change a little bit. Have you thought about flattening out this curb here? Have you thought about maybe widening this turn, and we'll pay the compensation for whoever loses a little bit of real estate, like a couple of square feet of real estate, just to have the Armco barrier a few feet further back, and Monaco just won't change. There's only one thing tends to happen when people refuse change, is that they get left behind. And I really think Monaco is on the cusp of being left behind. And Lee's right; he's not wrong when he says that if Monaco goes, there's never anything like Monaco again. Unless you bring it back at some point in the future. But it's
The
if
only
Monaco
thing
goes,
that
that's it, it's
the only
gone.
thing that can replace Monaco is Kimi at Monaco. Yeah, I mean it is a genuine one-off, and it's been there every year except for 2 now, because the Italian Grand Prix has been there every year,
Yes.
I think.
In some form.
In one form or another since the World Championship started, and
Is the British Grand Prix been on every calendar? Not the same circuit, obviously, but has there always been a Grand Prix in Britain since the beginning of the calendar as well?
It feels like there should have been. That feels right.
but it's one of the historic circuits, and it's practically unchanged from the first year they raced around there.
Aside from the bit they had to change because Maldonado.
Well, yes.
There have been changes since
Yeah.
the first race there. I mean, the Rascasse was just a hairpin, and there was no Rascasse. There was no restaurant there when they first started. Excuse me, when they first started racing. So
Where would
there have been
where would Dan
changes to
Tickton have
Monaco.
gone for his sushi if it wasn't there?
Exactly, but it's there have been changes. But I think I'm trying to think the last time I looked at Monaco and thought, oh, that's different. And I think it's when they remodeled the swimming pool chicane. They made it fast. 25 years ago, maybe.
I mean, the only change that I've noticed in recent years is that there's no Zepter adverts in the tunnel anymore.
Yes, I noticed that because I think for about 5 years in a row it was like, well, the fuck's Zepter? And had to look it up. Turns out expensive pans.
Saucepan, wasn't it?
Expensive pans, very expensive pan.
Which is why I had a quick go on Photoshop and got a picture of the Monaco tunnel and replaced the Zepter ad with Steele's pots and pans.
Fantastic.
One for all the Belinkas out there. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know what it means, ask. But yeah, I think that's been just about the only change. Sorry, we've got a cat trying to sit on a
Let her
Google
crack on.
nest. It's not that kind of nest, Dizzy. Right, should we go team by team?
Yes.
Go on then.
Right, starting at the back with 2 DNFs, although we only really saw one of them, is Haas.
Two contrasting DNFs, wasn't it? Because it was a technical for Magnussen. He just quietly disappeared, and it was like, oh look, that he is not in a car. Very much not like that for Schumacher.
No, that looked terrifying because when you first saw it, the after effects with the gearbox complete and
The
whole
car
back end
looked like
completely
Grosjean's
separated.
car.
Yeah, which it's meant to do that because it takes away the energy of the crash. But it's Mick Schumacher destroying another car.
I thought when I saw that, there's no fucking way anyone's walking out of that.
I was very surprised to see him just like walking out the car like, it's crashed. There we go. Let's go to the pub.
Yeah, I felt bad at first, and I was just like, oh, that's like clearly a red. I was like, where's the red? Why haven't they red flagged it? Why haven't they red flagged it? And then I saw Mick Schumacher getting out of the car, and I was like, oh, okay.
Because he's fine. How is he fine?
Yeah, well, we heard his radio message, didn't we? And I was like, oh, thank fuck for that. And then, he just got out and carried on. What was that? Jesus Christ. Ace note from the depths of hell.
I think that was someone with a bean can exhaust driving past our window.
Really?
Yeah, I don't even think that was Primal Scream. I think that was just a car.
It was such a sub-bass note in my headphones.
It's because they've got to compete with the bikers at the moment, haven't they? So they're obviously going extra bean canny.
Embarrassing, really, when you think about it, isn't it? I've got a Fiesta. Yeah, carry on, Jeff.
Yeah, where were we before Barry White in engine note form turned up?
Mick Schumacher.
Yet another crashed car.
Yeah, a very innocuous looking crash as well, wasn't it? It's just like he's driving, he's spinning.
Yeah, we saw a few drivers catch it, didn't we? Sort of on the Saturday. Clearly, it was a bit more difficult to hold on a Sunday when it was wet. But I don't think we saw anybody else almost lose it on the Sunday. Was it Vettel and Ricciardo lost it?
What the fuck is happening here?
Whoa!
What
Was
are
that
you? Right.
What was that?
I don't know.
That was me clicking on a page with an advert coming up for a bloody Star Trek game because I was just about to say.
Have they paid?
No.
Well, they can fuck off then.
No, I'm gonna have to mix that out.
Yes.
Wow.
Don't lie. That's not getting mixed fucking anywhere.
I was just
The
opening
only thing you're mixing that with is a bit of Jacques.
yeah, basically, what Mick Schumacher said was he was 10 centimetres offline, and that caused the crash.
Jack.
I am.
10 centimetres offline.
Yeah.
10 centimetres is 10 centimetres too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Monaco, 10 centimetres is quite a lot. 10 centimetres is barrier or not barrier.
Because he'd already broken his front wing earlier on.
Right.
No, that doesn't
Well,
help.
look.
Well, it's all right, because there was a red flag, so he could... Oh, no, wait.
Yeah. We've had we had drivers at the weekend, which I'm sure we're going to talk about in a bit, which didn't have like their best weekends, and some drivers that just didn't do very well. But the only drivers that looked reckless, like dangerous to be on track, happened to be the three drivers that are either paying their way there or are there because of their name. I don't think it's an accident, and I think that these new cars, being a bit more tricky to drive again, are showing up the people that probably shouldn't be in Formula One.
Which, saying that, we'll move on to Williams and start with Latifi's 15th place finish and
Oh, he crashed on the parade lap, didn't he?
outlap crash.
Yeah,
he
not
did,
good.
yeah. I mean, I thought he was out of the race, but
He's rarely in the race, even when he's in the race.
I mean, benefit of the doubt, that Williams looked really fucking tricky this weekend. But I mean, when you look at the fact that, I mean, Albon nearly stuck that into Q2. It's so close. Only a second off the leading time at that point, I think, wasn't he?
It was something ridiculously close. Yeah.
Latifi needs Gond. Like it's not helping anybody now. And I wonder, especially that essentially every car can now score points given the opportunity.
It was 1.042 off Leclerc's time. Was Albon.
Absolutely fucking great job. But now every team is capable of scoring points. I think it's more important than ever that every team has drivers that are capable of scoring points.
And as polite as he is,
Yeah, he seems absolutely harmless enough. Just shite.
I think he's just too old for it. Like I know he's not like old, but I think he came in late compared to Formula One
He's
drivers.
racing driver old, isn't he? He spent too long in F2.
He felt like a permanent fixture in F2. Won by default essentially.
Came second.
Because, all of those people, all of the people that were better than him in F2 got Formula One drives to the point that he became a Formula 2 driver just because all the other good ones had disappeared. So it's a shame for him, but the experiment's got to stop at some point.
I think that's it. I think he kind of he earned his shot, but I think he's now had his shot, and we've kind of got the gist at this point. And thank you. See you later.
Yes. How many years has he been in the sport now?
Well, this is his third year in F1, isn't it? He was in F2 for, I think, at least 3 seasons.
Decade, 2.
He's always been around Formula One. I remember him being a young driver getting into the Force India team in like 2015. And now, I hate to break it to everyone, but that's 7 years ago now.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, he did, 2 partial seasons and 1 full season in GP2. And then 3 full seasons in F2.
So that's 6 seasons.
Effectively, yes.
Jesus wept.
Very strange.
It's only going to get worse as well, isn't it? The budget cap should have sorted this problem out to a certain extent and made pay drivers less needed.
Yeah.
But I feel that the upcoming financial crisis is going to scupper that.
Well, they're already talking
what
about.
it's done is made the poor teams suffer a bit more because they've had to get drivers who will pay money, and you've ended up with more accidents, so they actually end up losing money because of trying to find a way around the budget cap.
Yeah.
Who's typing on an old typewriter?
That's not typing. That is gesturing at a cat.
I was
that's on
clicking
a
my
shelf.
fingers to try and stop a cat from...
We were trying to subtly scoop her down off the shelf.
Stop her knocking over 2 bottles, all of Sean's racing trophies, a bobblehead Eddie, Number of the Beast edition, if anyone's interested, and her late brother's ashes.
Oh yeah, no.
So we try and keep her off that shelf.
Yes. It's going to be the bloody Grosjean Maldonado syndrome again, isn't it? You know, is the money they're bringing in just there to cover what they wreck?
I think when you've got someone like Oscar Piastri sat around doing feck all, then
Yeah.
I think it's probably worth finding out if there is a more cost-effective option.
And I think it might be, it may well be him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just Piastri, though, is it? There are so many drivers who haven't gone to Formula One.
Yeah, I mean, De Vries beat him in the championship when Latifi finished second in F2. Obviously, Hulkenberg still floating around. Giovinazzi was there with his luxurious hair at the weekend. There are lots of people campaigning for a seat.
I think Hulkenberg's maybe, had his chance, I would say. It was sad when he sort of got relegated to super sub, but
he's sat there right now crossing his fingers for monkeypox.
Hulkenback 4.
Monkeypox don't mind him.
He's still 20th in the 21 driver championship, though, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, until Latifi gets a 12th place or better.
Could be a wait.
Yeah, he will be behind Hulk.
I heard Crofty say during the race that Latifi is the only driver this season to not run in the points at any point during any race.
It's not good.
Nah, that's fucking ridiculous, isn't it?
To not even in a weird pit stop cycle find yourself in the top 10 for like half a lap is wild.
Yeah, that's really stupid. Unimpressed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we saw after that performance in Hungary last year.
Hungary last year was weird, though.
But he genuinely hung on to that 7th place.
He did. But Ocon won that race.
George, do you remember George Russell, who fell behind Nicholas Latifi at the start? He said, look, sacrifice my race to save Nicky's because he's in front of me.
Yeah.
So I think that's exactly what Williams did, if I remember. They used George to hold to hold people up to help Nicholas Latifi get a little bit further down the road, much like Alonso did with Hamilton.
Well, we'll come
this weekend and back then.
We'll come to the back of that train very shortly. What to say about Albon? Again, it was is he retiring? Retirement.
Yeah, he had a couple of little journeys, didn't he? Did he get a time penalty for track limits as well, I think?
Yes.
Always impressive in Monaco.
Yeah, repeated track limit violations. I think he kept forgetting to take the Nouvelle chicane.
Is that not self-punishing, though?
Usually, yes. But yeah, he got a 5-second penalty for leaving the track and gaining an advantage.
I don't think he gained much of an advantage, given that he was at the back of the field for most of the race.
Yeah. And didn't really notice him.
No.
Can we put that down to the TB direction?
No,
Quite
I think he possibly
but-
just didn't do anything that spectacular.
Yeah, it's one of the anonymous Sauber sort of syndrome things, isn't it? The car and the driver. You can't tell how good the driver is because the car's a dog, but also when you're that far back, nothing's going to happen. So no one's interested.
Yeah. Right. AlphaTauri next. Gasly in 11th.
Not bad.
Not bad. I mean, lousy qualifying. So, I mean, gaining 6 places in Monaco. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's good.
It's just a shame he qualified 17th.
Yeah.
He was, I think, was he the first person to switch onto the Inters that didn't drive into a wall during the parade lap? I think he was sort of at the front end of the tyre changing.
Yeah. I think
so,
he did. I
yeah.
think he did go first, and
I think he finished the race behind Ocon, didn't he? But
He
because of
did.
Ocon's handy penalty.
Yes.
yeah, because Ocon ended up losing 3 places
Wow.
going on that. 'Cause, yeah, he crossed the line 9th, 3/10 behind Hamilton, and because of his coming together with Hamilton, ended up 12th. But we will get to that. But obviously, Latifi was held up in the Alonso train. Fernando doing 4 seconds off the pace laps to save his tyres.
It worked. It didn't work. I mean, it worked as in he was able to defend because of that. But I think they knew that was the best they were going to get. But Alpine, are we talking about Alpine? Or are they
Well, no,
looking
we're
further?
talking about AlphaTauri because they were next, because we had Gasly 11th and Tsunoda.
Tsunoda, who went off the circuit more than anyone, I think. I think he.
Yeah, he kept taking the what was it, the tourist route, they called it this weekend. It's normally going to do the shopping.
Yeah,
But I think
going straight on at Saint Devote.
Yeah, but-
5 times.
But I think Le Mans got the right to that. But yeah, effectively, Gasly and Tsunoda swapped places. One started in 11th, one started 17th, and the one that started in 17th finished 11th, and the one that started in 11th finished 17th.
Cool.
So, multi 2,210. Ish. Somebody say something, it wasn't that bad.
It was pretty. No, that was all right. Multi 22. What was it? 2,210. They probably could have gone multi 21, couldn't they? Given the first numbers of their respective cars, but Red Bull based teams don't listen to that shit.
No, that is true. But yeah, Tsunoda didn't really have much control over the car when it came to braking for turn 1. And that was
every lap.
yeah, and that was about all he did. Just ran wide and then crept back
Ran wide and got angry.
Crept back apologetically onto the circuit behind everyone that had just passed him.
He's a strange one, Tsunoda, isn't he? It feels like the second coming of Kobayashi. You know, like maybe he might have a spectacular race in him somewhere where he overtakes about 15 people, and then the rest of his career will be complete mediocrity, where people constantly refer to that one race where he actually did something.
Right, Aston Martin next. Vettel with a much-needed point in 10th, and Stroll with a much-needed tyre change before the race had properly started.
Yeah, Vettel was the biggest winner, was he, out of tyre changes early on?
He was the biggest
tyre change.
It was the biggest winner out of Ocon's penalty.
Yes, he was. Yeah, but you know what I mean. The early interchange.
Yeah.
He was one of the early ones, and he benefited the most, I think, from that. I don't think anybody else finished ahead of him who made the early switch. But I might be wrong, and I'm happy to be proven wrong.
No, I think he timed it right. He obviously benefited from Stroll switching early, so he probably had that time to think, actually, maybe not quite yet for the Inters, because my teammate's all over the fucking place.
Yeah, but in fairness, Stroll would have been all over the fucking place.
Oh, I mean, Stroll was all over the
dries.
place on the parade lap. Latifi, we've taken the piss out of a bit, but he was not the only Canadian in the barrier on the parade lap. And in fact, did they not then nearly crash into each other in the pit lane as well when they were changing tyres?
Yes.
Well
I
done.
missed that.
Well done, Canada.
Kat agrees.
Yes, vocally.
Right, get off the shelf, you...
She is being a dickhead tonight. Well, there goes some ornaments.
Yeah, I'm not into... I think that was a Marshall mini
It was a Marshall
stack.
amp.
Yeah.
It was an amp. We'll deal with that later.
Yes, we will take a look at that.
To be fair, you did call him a dickhead.
I call her a dickhead most days, because she is a dickhead most days.
So yeah, Vettel only did 6 laps on the wets that he started on. So I think there was only Gasly that went in before that didn't need to.
Yeah, they'll have got data from Stroll's car and gone, yes, now is the time.
Because Stroll did 1 lap on his first set of tyres, which he broke, and then 2 laps on his second set of tyres, and then went on to the Inters after 3 whole laps.
Wow.
Yeah, that 4-stop strategy really working well for Aston Martin there.
4-stop strategy.
I thought Stroll was meant to be good in the wet.
What? Where did you get that from?
That is not data I hold.
He's good at circuits where you don't.
He's
have
good
to
in a
turn
straight line.
very much.
Yeah.
He's good at fast circuits. Monaco is not for him.
I think there's a difference between like putting a decent fucking showing in somewhere and then going to Monaco, isn't there?
Yeah, he likes a sort of fast turny, sharp turn circuit, not a sort of slow, creepy, roundy circuit.
And he's not good at creeping.
No.
Not with those eyebrows. On the subject of Aston Martin, though, it's still there's still rumours going around that Vettel's going to be retiring at the end of the season.
Well, he did say you'd have to see how it would go with Aston Martin before he made a decision on his future. We don't know whether that decision on his future is to drive elsewhere or leave Formula One. I think it might be leave Formula One, personally, but we'll just have to wait and see, won't we?
Yeah, because I mean, the names that have been linked with the seat have been Schumacher and Alonso.
Alonso's already turned them down by all accounts, hasn't he?
Stroll and Schumacher is going to be a expensive pairing.
I suppose if Alonso was to go there, it solves. It would solve the
Stroll Schumacher.
Yeah, it would solve the Piastri issue that Alpine have got.
Wasn't that an album by Muse? But yeah, if Vettel is on his way out, then obviously if Audi are going to buy Aston Martin, then they're going to want a German driver in there.
They might do, they might not. Remember when Mercedes bought Mercedes, and they became Team Germany.
Well, Germany in a third.
Germany in a third. Well, yeah, Germany. In a third. Okay, yeah. That took me a second.
Yes, depends which day of the week it is with Rosberg.
Yeah, absolutely. Germany in a quarter if it's the Italian Grand Prix. They were Team Germany, and now both their drivers are British.
I think when it's a new thing, isn't it? You need your partners to buy in, and that's when all your partners are German. Having your German drivers, I think, gets it going. Whereas now, because they're so successful, they could put any nationality in the car, and their sponsors are all going to be like, "Yes, fine, you do whatever." So I can kind of get why, Audi coming in new to get people behind them might need a German.
You know, because when Toro Rosso started, the Red Bull Academy was effectively
full of talent.
Well, look at when Honda...
well, no, it wasn't. That was the thing. It was full of American drivers, and the best that they had to put in there was Scott fucking Speed.
Well, when they started working with Honda a few years ago, how many Japanese drivers did they have in the Red Bull program?
Many.
About 4 or 5.
Yeah. How many are left?
2.
1.
No, they've got Iwasa.
2?
Iwasa in F2 is Red Bull program.
He was Red Bull. I didn't know he was Red Bull program.
Yeah, Red Bull seem to. I think they've got nearly a quarter of the F2 grid.
They have 5, yes.
Out of 22.
Yes.
So you're watching F2 and you see a car in a Red Bull livery,
and at least one former one, not Mick Doohan, his child,
Jack Doohan.
Yes, switched from Red Bull to Alpine this year. So they have many driver.
So. If Audi do come in like that and they do want the German lineup, as we have discussed before, when Lee comes back in 2 minutes, there will be, there may be a seat there for Schumacher, or do they just say sod it and just get Hulk in just so that there's a quality?
I feel like Hulk is at least your safer bet at the minute. At least you know what you're getting.
You need an anchor, don't you? And I get the feeling that the Schumacher Stroll team, there is no anchor.
There is not.
I mean, your chances of podiums will be the same if you got Hulk or Schumacher in the car.
Yeah, but your
and
chance
yes,
of a 5th place is probably increased.
Yeah, I did say anchor.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Just like the surname of somebody who used to be on this show.
Yes.
But it's a top secret that we don't talk about that.
But we don't know where he is. What's going on now?
Oh,
That was genuine typing.
That was genuine typing. Somebody was making the predictions for what this podcast's going to be like.
Well, that's bold. While we're still bloody recording it.
No, I didn't think I was streaming this through Discord.
We could stack the deck. We could either give them exactly what they want or go for the opposite and make them look a tit.
Well, so far, the two things that we've covered, the two predictions that he's made, we didn't go the same way that he thought we were going to.
Oh.
I'm saying no more. Spoilers. Right, what's next? Right, Alpine. Ocon finished 9th, got placed 12th. Oh, no, sorry, Alfa Romeo.
Oh, yeah, don't forget them.
Yeah, you put Alfa Romeo now. We always seem to leave out one of the A teams.
Because there's so bloody many of them.
Bottas in 9th. Did finish at the rear, but of course we all know about Bottas's rear at the moment.
Yes.
And Zhou in 16th.
Both fairly unremarkable, really, weren't they? They both...
Bottas did okay.
He gained a couple of places based on his qualifying, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, and also a benefactor of the Ocon penalty. Bottas did okay. Is Guan Yu Zhou like an incident magnet?
He's like this guy that we used to work with. He said he'd never been in a traffic jam, but he'd seen thousands behind him.
Yeah, he never really seems to be fully involved, does he? But he's usually on the scene.
When he turns up in a country major event... Oh, hang on a minute. It's Dan Guan Yu Zhou.
That's why he's not here anymore.
I haven't actually seen an interview with him since F2, so...
We've never seen him in the same room at the same time.
This is true, actually, yes.
Yeah, right, Lee, I don't know if you caught that or not, but our new conspiracy theory.
Oh, do tell. See, why did I disappear? That's a conspiracy.
Right.
Maybe Lee is also Guan Yu Zhou.
Oh, Christ. So, Guan Yu Zhou always seems to be around a lot of incidents, but never directly involved. Turns up in a country and things happen. Dan. Similar. Never seen them in the same room at the same time.
I think they're different people, but what if they're... what if they're different...
There's just a real sincerity about you. Well, I think they're different people.
But what if they are agents for...
Part of the same program.
Yeah, but for their respective countries.
Oh.
Maybe. If they're not the same person. Whichever way like the ball lands, there's some good makeup going on there one way or another.
I'm not saying Dan works for MI5 or MI6, but what I am saying is that Guan Yu Zhou may possibly work for the Chinese equivalent.
Maybe he's on an exchange program and doesn't work for MI5 or 6, honest.
Maybe.
But you can't really say a lot about Alfa Romeo because, I mean, yeah, there wasn't, they weren't involved at the front. Bottas certainly got stuck behind the Alonso non-express.
Zhou nearly had a massive accident and then didn't.
He was quite excited about the save, wasn't he? He was very pleased with himself.
He did mention that he needed new pants.
Oh, it's his birthday today.
Oh.
Well,
happy birthday, Guan Yu Zhou.
We'll start calling him Zhou Guan Yu because it's his birthday, because that's how you meant to say it.
It is, that is true.
Yeah, family name followed by actual name.
To be fair, somebody should have pointed this out about 2 years ago, really.
This is the problem. We've got into bad habit, and it's hard to break.
Move on to Alpine next.
El
Plan is not working.
No, it's El Tricky. So yeah, Ocon finished across the line in 9th, and after I didn't think at first that him battling with Lewis was too bad, and then I saw the state of Lewis's front wing. It's like, oh, he did give him a hell of a clout.
He did make a mess. I don't really know
We missed
where
it, though.
else
We missed
he
the
was.
second incident.
Yeah, there was meant to be a sort of second coming together, wasn't there? I don't really know where else Ocon was meant to go.
With the way that
Yeah, Hamilton wasn't alongside, was he?
No. I think he was banking on Ocon braking, and I think we know that's not really Ocon's style.
Could would that damage that was done? Would that not have been something to do with Magnussen? Was it Magnussen? No. Oh, sorry. No, sorry. I'm getting completely confused. Sorry. Yeah, it was Ocon. Sorry. Carry on.
Are you blending last week's race into this week's
I'm
race?
playing last week's race. I think that was 100% Hamilton's fault. 100% Hamilton's fault. I think the fact that Ocon got a penalty for it is ridiculous.
Yeah, the first one we didn't see the second one. That's the problem. The first one there was
spoiler
no
alert for later on, the TV director is going in the wankers column.
Yeah, the front wing tapping Ocon's wheel and then getting on the radio to be like, oh, he turned into me. It's just like, well, it's Monaco. His other option is to hit the barrier.
Yeah, he stuck his car. He stuck like 10 centimeters of his car in front of half of Ocon's wheel, and expected racing room for that much car. It was.
No, he wasn't alongside, but we didn't see what the second
Stupid.
incident was in which Hamilton proclaimed that Ocon had forced him into the wall. So we don't know if the damage was because they touched or if because Hamilton ran out of room and had to touch a wall. But Hamilton changed. I mean, we're not talking about Mercedes. We're nowhere near doing that yet. Hamilton managed to change his wing in during the red flag. Ocon got that 5-second penalty, which did seem a bit harsh, I've got to be honest, but neither he nor Alonso nor the team seemed to do anything about it.
I have a theory about that, and I thought at the time, I don't know whether I mean nothing has been said about it, so maybe it might be completely wrong. But when it was going on, I felt that Alonso was backing up, hoping that if Ocon could take Hamilton, and then Alonso would have allowed Ocon through, and then carried on doing what he was doing. That's what I thought L plan was there.
Maybe.
If it was,
Maybe.
L plan did not work.
It
No.
did not work, no. Alonso was slow by 4 seconds a lap.
Yeah, I mean, when Lando made his last pit stop, there was 30 seconds between them.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of the race, Alonso didn't stop again. There was 34 seconds between them.
And what is it, about 20 seconds?
About 20
Pit
about
time.
20 seconds for a pit stop. So Alonso lost 45 seconds plus. So it was
Let me
about,
tell you this.
it's about a 10 second gap when Lando came out.
If you went looking on social media, Team LH took this well.
Well, you can find anything you want to on social media.
It's very
Find
true.
it. I was finding it hard to fucking escape it.
Maybe you need to change who you follow on social media, Lee.
Or change your search query.
I didn't search it. Fuck.
Oh, it
It's
came to
just
you, did it?
I get tagged in enough stuff now. it seems to be a new thing of people tagging me in like Lewis Hamilton fans being toxic posts.
Twitter, you know what to do.
I don't not enjoy it. Won't lie.
In that case, Twitter, you know what not to do. But yeah, it was a strange tactic to try and make the tyres last. Did they not have any hard tyres left when Alonso came in for that stop? So they went with the mediums and then decided, oh, let's.
Look, they went on to the mediums and then there was the red flag, wasn't there?
I think he put the mediums on after the red flag.
I can't remember.
I suppose what you've got is you've got.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, he was on mediums. He was looking after them. My apologies. Yeah.
You had Alonso, which couldn't do any better than where he was. You know, that wasn't that. There wasn't anything else in that car. He couldn't do anything about who was in front of him. So he was just driving his own race, making sure he had tyres, and unfortunately for Mr. Hamilton, that involved him not being able to go anywhere. I think it's just as simple as that. Alonso wasn't going to get anything else. So why, if you can't fight who's ahead of you, why push?
Yeah, it's part of not the problem as such, but the problem that I have with Monaco at the moment. In that, that's all you got to do is just. It doesn't matter if the car in front is super slow. Much like Danny Ricciardo, did he lose his MGU H a few years ago and ended up winning the race because he was just able to keep everyone behind him?
Yeah.
Like, that's, to me, it's, if DRS is fake racing, so is that. Making your car big enough so that no one can get past. My car is the same width as the circuit. Okay.
Said every Formula E driver ever.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But Formula E raced on that same circuit, didn't it?
With narrower cars, so there was better racing.
So what was their fastest lap time in comparison to the wet F1 race?
We don't know the wet F1 race, but we worked this out ages ago when they first went there, and the Formula E cars in the dry were lapping the same as like 1960s Formula One cars.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it was. That was a long time ago. We worked that out, and it was. There's a reason why they found it easier to overtake
because they're going slower.
Yeah,
I mean you can overtake somebody when they're walking a lot easier than if they're doing 200 mile an hour.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, Gasly overtook some people. It's not like overtaking around Monaco.
Oh no, it's not impossible.
Impossible, yeah.
No, but if you get past it, the risk is extremely high.
Right, fastest lap in the E-Prix this year was Robin Freins with a 1:32.7.
That's slow.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not 60 slow, but it's slow.
No, that's the new gen cars, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
But when we worked it out, we were looking at last gen cars.
Still bloody slow.
Oh yeah, it's still slow. I've no idea where Formula E goes. To be perfectly honest, I don't.
Oh, there's a list here. They've just been to Berlin's old airport. They're going to Jakarta next. Then Marrakech. I'll shut up now.
I quite liked the idea of Formula E when it first started, but does anybody else feel the same as me that it's just sort of, I don't know.
It's very samey, isn't it? It gets very samey.
It's like that really nice guy that there's just got nothing about him. It's like, this guy's really nice. Yep.
I think it being the resting place for Formula One test drivers as well
that is exactly what the lineup is, isn't it? Really, it's people who just aren't quite good enough for F1.
Yeah, and that's worse than it being the resting place for old Formula One drivers. At least if it was like ex Formula One drivers going there after they fell out of Formula One, it would have that sort of 90s WCW appeal, where you had like Hulk Hogan and stuff still wrestling after they left WWF. But the whole thing of these guys that, I mean, realistically, not even just they weren't good enough to make Formula One. Some of them were never going to make Formula One, but they were good enough to sit in a sim for a team for a while.
Sergio Setti Camara.
What's his name? What am I thinking? He was Williams Young Driver Academy, British guy.
Sam Bird?
No, but he did that job for Mercedes.
Oliver Turvey?
Yes.
No, it was...
no, not Oliver Turvey.
Oliver
sorry.
Rowland.
Oliver Rowland.
Yes.
There's quite a few Olivers.
Yeah.
There was an Alex as well, wasn't there? Who was he?
Alex Lynn.
That's him. Alex Lynn. That's who I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Jordan King. There's another one.
Alexander Sim.
Anthony Davidson narrowly managed to escape it by being successful.
And of course, it is the current home of Dick Tantrum.
Is Dick Tantrum in Formula E now? Is he? I'm fucking so far away from even being bothered to watch it. I don't know who the new guys are.
Yeah,
Was that what he was doing when he parked his car on the course to get some sushi?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
That's incredible. See, that's why we needed him in Formula One. Oh,
It got towed. It was a Ferrari and it got towed because he parked outside the sushi place.
incredible. Everyone says we need drivers with character, and then people complain when a driver with character comes along.
Oh, he's got character. He's just a liability on the track. You know, you can have character and not white people out for fun.
I'm not sure that's possible.
Eddie Irvine? No, okay. Yeah, all right. I'll come back to you on this. I will find one. Yeah, we've gone off our own L plan because there wasn't one.
No,
Well, there's a kind of one, but it's loosely followed.
loose L plan.
It was as interesting as Porridge, and I mean the serial, not the TV series.
I quite like Porridge though.
You gotta add everything to it, haven't you? You know,
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what Formula E just needs: drivers added to it. It's like someone's given someone porridge but hasn't put sugar or syrup on top of it.
I mean, for someone that uses wallpaper paste professionally, you want to eat it for breakfast as well?
Well, yeah, I suppose so. Porridge doesn't kill cats though. Wallpaper paste 100% murks cats. If you wallpaper in your house, this is a public service announcement. Fucking take the paste somewhere else. Doesn't take a lot of paste to kill a cat.
Good
I know
to
this
know.
from personal experience. Not my own cat, a customer's cat. Their fault. I said, don't let your cats in the room.
Not happy customer, I'm assuming then.
Well, it was their fault. They knew it was their fault. She was a vet as well, so that cat
Oh,
got the
jeez.
best of the
Oh,
best
come on.
treatment.
Flipping hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, McLaren. Right. We'll do Lando first because still coming back from
prettier.
one hell of a nasty bout of tonsillitis, as it turns out.
Yeah. I feel bad as well because at first when it was hay fever, I sort of mocked the Formula One fans for going, come on.
I think
It said he's got hay fever, not AIDS.
No, you
know,
called
this is probably
called
give
it
a chance.
Ultra AIDS.
Okay, I did. Yeah.
He was incredibly ill. It was the medication that made him ill at the last race.
Apparently,
And,
he threw up in his helmet in
What?
Spain.
Yeah. That was the medication that made that happen, not the actual illness. And the did anybody see which this was only unveiled? I think after we recorded last week's podcast.
I'm hoping not his helmet.
No. The conversation between Will Joseph and Lando Norris post Spain after he finished like 8th or something. Just like Will Joseph was like, "Well done, Lando. That's P8." Lando just didn't respond. So can you just press the button on the steering wheel to let me know you're okay? And Lando just pressed the confirm button, and that was it. He didn't say a single thing. So that's some illness.
Jesus,
And-
yeah.
Anybody who's had a bad bout of tonsillitis, I mean, touch wood, it's been some years since I've had it that bad, but it takes it out of you for a few weeks. So for Lando to do as well as he did, fair play to him. It's not
Yeah.
quite the podium he got last year, but you know,
Yeah, can
Sixth place?
I just ask on that subject? Why is it when you go to the doctors with anything wrong with your throat, the tablets they give you are big enough to fit inside a horse? So
so you can scrape it away. I have no idea.
It's not how tablets work.
Yeah, no, I've got a really bad throat. Right, take 3 frisbees a day.
Don't crush them up.
Yeah, swallow them whole.
Strictly no water.
And they're always like the chalky ones, not the ones that are in sort of like the smooth coating capsule type of thing. It is always a sort of chalky thing.
It completely coats your throat, and you find yourself sort of coughing and hacking for days afterwards with a dry mouth.
I always think those ones with the crispy coating are really weird because if you actually hold them in your mouth for a little bit, they're sweet, like Smarties. And I always think to myself, for tablets that you're trying not to make kids eat, covering them in like sugar seems like a misstep.
Yeah, that literally is a sugar-coated pill.
Yeah.
That's Alanis Morissette when she's in a good mood.
When was that?
Moving on. Right, Danny Rick. Oh, boy.
It's getting harder and harder for Danny, isn't it?
It's getting harder and harder to stand up for him.
Have you heard the interviews talking around contracts? Because that's all very interesting now. People aren't really concealing stuff. We had Zach Brown saying that he wasn't happy with how the relationship had gone, and then he said something along the lines of, there are mechanisms in which we can be connected with each other and unconnected with each other.
As there will be in any contract, but to be speaking about it openly is not a good sign.
Zach Brown was at Indy this weekend.
He was.
Now, the rumours currently doing the rounds. I mean, there's the obvious ones about doing a swap with either Pato O'Ward or even Felix Rosenquist, because Rosenquist doesn't have a deal in Indy for next season. The other one is slightly more out there, and now we know isn't going to be happening this season, but maybe in the future, is leaving McLaren and moving to Team Pitbull in NASCAR. Now, Danny Rick is a massive NASCAR fan, and especially Dale Earnhardt Jr. And the team that Pitbull has aligned this number 91 car with the celebrity drivers, which is why Kimmy's racing in the, I think it's called the Go Bowling at the Glen 200.
Fantastic. Great name.
Of course, yeah.
Because, we get to see Kimmy drive a NASCAR and turn both ways this time. That is linked with Dale Earnhardt's team from, obviously, back when Dale Earnhardt was still alive and racing. And, of course, we know that Danny Rick chose the number 3 in tribute to his favourite driver of all time as well. So, people are putting 2 and 2 together, but there might be a bit of credibility to that one.
I don't think he's going to go to NASCAR.
No, I would be surprised.
Yeah. He did say, Daniel Ricciardo spoke about his contract now as well, because it seems to be, if you read between the lines, that the get-out clause is on Daniel Ricciardo's side. And it would make sense that, because it's, even though the Renault didn't particularly work out, but it was always kind of the feeling that it didn't work out more because of Renault and less because of Ricciardo. So he was still going to McLaren with that reputation. I think we were all a little bit worried for Lando, weren't we? With as far as getting just put away by the new coming McLaren driver.
Yep.
But he turned around and said that he has a cast iron contract for next year, but he doesn't want to be 14th anymore. And that was what he said when asked about his new contract. He also said, when someone said, "Are you upset about people talking about your career?" and he said, "If you don't know this about me, I have tanned, beautiful, and very thick skin," which I thought was quite funny. But I think he'll replace Guan Yu Zhou.
Possible.
Or Sebastian Vettel.
Or Vettel. Vettel is a shout.
Maybe. I think when you look at Bottas from what he was going from at Mercedes, if I was Daniel Ricciardo and I looked at how whatever the core is inside that team has essentially immediately nursed Bottas back to health, I would be thinking I would like a little bit of that secret sauce. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I mean, that's not beyond the realms of possibility.
No. With having a cast iron contract for next year, so he says, as well, as we know from Ferrari when they signed Alonso, you don't necessarily, just because your driver has a contract, if you pay them, you don't have to put them in the car. As long as you're upholding that, whatever you're meant to be paying them, it's fine.
What was it? Kimmy got 13 million not to drive a Ferrari?
Kimmy was the highest paid driver on the grid that year, even though he wasn't on the grid. The other hot Ricciardo rumour doing the rounds is that apparently he had a row with Zach Brown this weekend, which culminated in him telling Zach Brown to eat a salad.
Oh, I heard that, and apparently it's because I read that thing on social media, but I read that as, because it was just someone saying that Ricciardo was heard telling Zach Brown to eat a salad. But that kind of sounds like Daniel Ricciardo being funny Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh, it does.
Yeah,
but I like it.
Like Jenson Button telling Fernando Alonso he was going to pee in his seat.
Yeah.
Good old Monaco bants.
Just moving away from F1 for a minute, because we've been talking a little bit about McLaren's IndyCar, and I've just got to say, Marcus Ericsson, Indy 500 winner.
Yes.
Well done to Marcus Ericsson.
It was a fantastic drive.
Mm-hmm.
We've never had it in for the guy in the slightest in the past. We've always believed in him. Do you know what makes...
F1's lost world champion.
Someone pointed this out to me on Twitter last night, and this makes it really strange, but now... 2 drivers that drove the 2014 Caterham have won a race in the Triple Crown. So when are we going to see either Will Steams or Andre Lotterer win Monaco?
Oof.
It's not
Never.
happening, is it?
No.
I
But
bet Alonso wishes he'd done a stint now.
no, this makes Marcus Ericsson better than Alonso.
He's got the one Alonso hasn't.
He's got the Indy 500.
But Alonso has the 2 he doesn't.
Yeah, between
Yeah,
them.
Ericsson's got the one that he doesn't.
Can he not just like chop Eric's head off and take it like the Quickening?
I mean, you could always go to the Indy Trophy and just sort of remove Ericsson's face from it and put his own on it. Because that's if you've not seen the Indy 500 Trophy, it gets a sculpture of the winner's face attached to it every year.
That must be fucking
Weird.
horrendous. That looks like something from fucking Hellraiser.
Some of them are quite haunting.
That's weird.
Yeah,
Oh, it's like, you've won Indy, but we've kept your soul.
yeah, just Google the Borg Warner Trophy. I mean, you get assimilated onto it. One for the Star Trek
Borg
fans.
Warner is a gearbox. That'll do. Nothing more.
But yeah, fantastic drive from Ericsson last night, especially after the red flag when he did the 2-lap shootout.
Given that Alonso didn't even qualify last time he tried an Indy 500.
It was all Bob Fernley's fault, apparently.
No, it wasn't. Bob Fernley wasn't driving that car.
What I would like somebody with like good Photoshop skills to do, I don't want someone doing this on the phone. I want them to do a proper job for me. Otherwise, I'll be upset. I want somebody to take a really good picture of that trophy and replace the chrome covering with like a wet skin texture.
You mean put foundation on the Borg Warner?
No.
That's what you're asking.
No, like muscle. You know when you see like the walls of hell.
No,
Bearing in mind normal people, and I'm talking about the other three of us on this podcast that aren't you, don't watch the same things that you do.
I want it to look like it's made of like human skin, like human muscles. So it's like the trophy from hell.
You want to see the
And
picture that
then
Sean's
it's
just
all-
sent to the group?
It's got all these heads popping through it. That would be fucking hilarious.
You want to see the picture that Sean's just sent to the group?
Yeah, that works. The skin-coloured one at the end is particularly worrying.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, 3 of those look like the Joker.
They are all
Is that-
Simon Pagino.
I was going to say they're all Pagino.
They are
Have
all
you ever seen
Paginos.
Have you ever heard the story about the smiling man? It's like a half conspiracy theory, but there's not really a conspiracy around it, so it's not really. But it's in the realms of the paranormal.
Or
Where
is
there's
it?
There's a face called the Smiling Man, and there's something like there's a 40% of people, if you show them this picture, have seen this same face in dreams. So it's half the thing is it some sort of thing like a shared group experience, or is it just the fact that face, you know how we make faces in our dreams up from different people that we see all around, just smush them all together, that's like a good common all-rounder that people see. That's what that fucking looks like.
So basically what you're saying is Simon Pagino looks bang average.
He looks bang average, and he's been in about 40% of people's dreams.
100% of the time.
All the time.
So, Mercedes then. Another top 5 finish for George Russell.
Yeah. But do you think he made one one space up from qualifying, didn't he? I think qualified 6th, finished 5th.
That sounds about right. I'm not actually on the right page anymore. There's a lot.
Yeah,
of
I think he managed to jump Lando, but yeah, that was. So I've just seen the conjoined twins.
So I believe it was a joint win. I am joking about there is on one bit of the Indy 500 trophy. There appears to be 1 year where 2 drivers won. So they've just kind of
or
put
a
their
man
heads.
with 2 heads.
They've just put their heads far too close together that they do look like one being.
Oh dear.
Oh,
Anyway,
we are destroying Lee.
Solid race for George Russell.
Yeah, qualified 6th, overtook Lando. Oh, got past Lando
It was
some
good strategy, wasn't it? It was. Was he one of the ones that went straight from wet to slick?
I am just about to bring those details up. Yeah, it went from the wets to the hards and then mediums from the red flag, which he didn't seem to have a problem with being 4 seconds off the pace and keeping those mediums alive.
Well, because he was ahead of everyone.
So was Alonso.
He was not stuck in the tray.
I think he had more of a race with Lando, didn't he? I think
He was in fairly clear air, was he? First few laps, I think he hung on to the Ferrari Red Bull foursome, and then he dropped off a little bit and was just running in clean air. So he didn't have anything to worry about. I think George probably had a very lonely second half of the race because Ferraris and Red Bulls disappeared in front of him. Lando was close behind him, pitted, and then caught him, and I think finished like 2/10 behind him. Or something like that. It's just like until the last lap, George had a pretty lonely second part of that race.
I think that's where Mercedes are at the minute. Just not at the front, not in the middle, just in their own. I mean, Hamilton, on the other hand, did get caught up in the train.
Yes.
And wasn't best pleased by it.
I mean, no one's ever pleased to get caught up in the train, are they?
But again, Monaco. So
Yeah, it's what happens.
And there's the Patreon callback this week. Yeah, for anyone listening to this first, we have done a Patreon show.
I'm just listen to this first.
I have no idea. Some people are weird, and then there's the other 3 of us on the podcast.
Hey.
Yeah, Lewis, not a great qualifying. Started 8th, finished 8th. Didn't really hear a great deal of his team radio, because I'm guessing it was mostly, I'm bored. I've got no rear end, I'm bored.
We did hear him complaining about something, and I can't remember what it was.
He said blue flags like 1 million times, didn't he?
It wasn't that I was thinking of, but I can't remember what it was now.
We'll get to the blue flags in a bit, because they did cause issues at the front.
On a side note, I think we can now hear a little bit of Primal Scream's bass.
Well, I can't hear that on the.
It's not. Is it not
on the
picking
call.
up?
No.
I've not liked Primal Scream's bass since Manny left and rejoined the Stone Roses.
Oh, I can hear Primal Scream actually from here, and I'm far away.
It's just like we're at the same gig, like we will be next Tuesday.
Yeah, we will be next Tuesday. Yeah, that's a good point. Seeing as my band supporting your band.
Nah, we'll go on first. It means we do less songs. Actually, no.
That might be awkward because we've got like 55 minutes maximum. So
late night for me then. Thank God I'm off work on Wednesday. Right, shall we do the top 2 teams all at the same time, because it was all very...
it was a mishmash, wasn't it?
All very intermingled. I mean...
Not really. It's Ferrari'd themselves, and Red Bull did a better job.
I mean, what the whole thing with telling Leclerc to box and then telling him not to just after he'd committed.
This smacks of the 2 sides of the garage not talking to each other, because if the Leclerc lot had known Sainz was coming in, you would surely have left Leclerc out for another lap.
Yeah,
he also had to wait, didn't he? It wasn't like a double stack, like a clean double stack. He had to wait for Sainz to leave.
That, I assume, is why the Leclerc team called him in and then have gone, oh shit, Sainz's guys are in the pit lane, what the fuck's this? So have then had to tell Leclerc, no, stay out, at which point he's in.
Yeah. And there were also issues with him getting caught up behind, I think it was Latifi and Tsunoda, without blue flags coming out, or without the lapped cars actually finding a space to let him through behind the blue flags. I think
was it during qualifying or during the race when one of the marshals threw a flag, and it was basically in the cockpit of the driver that he was trying to flag. It was so fucking
vigorous,
close.
was it? I mean, sometimes you've got to get your attention, haven't you? But yeah, that feels a little bit intrusive.
I think it was qualifying because somebody was on a hot lap and there was a slow moving car in front trying to get some space to start their lap. So they threw the white flag, but the white flag basically it was in front of the driver's helmet, and I was like, Jesus Christ, that was inside the halo.
Well, he'd definitely seen it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, he saw it definitely. But there was no not seeing that.
Wouldn't it be great if he was an amateur magician, and he did that, and all of a sudden the driver disappeared?
Shit! I came out of the corner with a rabbit sat on top of his head.
I've got so much explaining to do.
Isn't that the trick that Lance Stroll has been playing for the last 5 years? Gets in the car and suddenly the driver disappears.
Well, that was Sauber, wasn't it? Sauber would just disappear during races.
But yeah, Ferrari, their strategy is really working for him well again this year, isn't it?
Well, it worked fine for Sainz.
Yeah, it got him a second, although that's...
No, it didn't. Sainz's strategy worked well for Sainz after he fucking... told them he wasn't coming in, because they tried to fucking sabotage Sainz.
Sainz worked well for Sainz.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be another of those Ferrari debriefs. Someone's gonna get blamed this time. Heads are probably gonna roll. There's gonna be changes. We'll come back stronger. Yeah, we've heard this every bloody cock up.
Perez did a better job on the Saturday and on the Sunday. Deserved to win. Max was not really on it at any point during the weekend. I don't think.
I know what you mean.
Perez was the better driver of the two.
Yeah, absolutely, and a deserved winner as well. By far the quicker driver of the Red Bulls on the Friday and the Saturday, and also the Sunday. So, given what happened to him in Spain as well, that was just a bit of a a sweet moment, I think, for Sergio Perez.
Take this with as much salt that wouldn't dehydrate you to the point of death. But Christian Horner has said that Sergio Perez is just as much in this championship as Max Verstappen.
He's only what, 18 points behind or something?
15.
Yeah, it only takes a DNF or two, and
if he won that, if he was allowed to win that race that he had to give to Max the other week, they'd be equal on points now.
Well, close to it, yeah. But yeah, So if for any reason in the next race or two Max Verstappen cannot finish and Perez scores a truckload of points, he's ahead of Max in the championship.
Mm-hmm.
But did Horner mean, yes, Perez is in the championship, meaning the Constructors' Championship, because they need his points?
No, they were talking about the Drivers' Championship. But the I don't 100% believe the Mr. Horner, because he was speaking.
the most honest thing he said all weekend was there was one bit where I think he was on the pit wall with Sky, and I think Crofty asked him something about, have your drivers been complaining about the car? And he very quickly said, no, they're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Which I think is possibly the most honest thing he's ever said.
Did anyone see him push Craig Slater into the pool?
Yes, so staged.
Yeah, it was so staged, but there was a thing where, there was that look on Christian Horner's face where when he pushed him in the pool, he was so serious. You could see he really enjoyed doing that, and not just for the laughs. He enjoyed pushing Craig Slater into that
Who wouldn't?
pool.
I was going to say,
I
wouldn't anyone?
100% stand with Horner.
I still need to get revenge on Craig Slater for elbowing me in the ribs.
Push him in a pool.
Yes.
Yeah, there wasn't a pool though. It was in a garage at Silverstone. So yeah, I mean, is there anything more we can say about the top four? Ferrari screwed Leclerc. Sainz rescued himself from Ferrari. Max seemed angry all weekend.
Did he?
I don't know
I don't know
if he
if he
did.
seemed angry. Yeah, he just was a bit.
If anything, a bit passive.
Yeah, just like not enough. You know what I mean? Though a bit frustrated that it wasn't anything he tried just wasn't enough.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like Perez, I like him. I think he's a perfectly fine driver, but there is definitely a hint of not even Massa Alonso, more Schumacher Barrichello about this. Where, yeah, we're going to get those races now and again where Perez has the speed on Max, but I mean, Monaco's a fucking outlier, isn't it? You know, it's such an oddity on the track that you can't really assign form to it. And if he has this pace on Max for like 3 races out of 23 races, I don't think Max is going to be particularly upset about it. In fact, I think it's the sign of somebody that understands how to manage a team around you, that Max was so happy for Perez for winning. You know, it's in the same way as you look at, but Barrichello and Massa should have fucking hated Michael Schumacher, and they both gush over him, and they always have done. You know, Eddie Irvine is exactly the same. Eddie Irvine always waxes lyrical about Michael Schumacher.
True.
So even when they're in a position where they're not allowed to beat you, you've Stockholm syndromed them into essentially being dutiful lapdogs.
I mean, don't forget now, Checo's with Red Bull, so he's had all trace of independent thought removed.
Yeah, but I think it's a good. The cuddle when your number 2 driver wins a race is a very important skill to learn.
One thing that did get picked up post race was Perez talking to Horner, and apparently he said, "Looks like I re-signed too soon."
Yeah, he's got a contract for next year, hasn't he?
Obviously thinks he wants more money.
Yeah, there's a rumour of 3 years. Although that is on Reddit, take that how you will.
I could believe a 2-year contract with a third year as an option. Seems about right. I think it would be the job he's doing. It would be unfair to just give him a year, because he's been the only driver Red Bull have stuck in that car which hasn't fell to bits next to Max Verstappen.
I suppose, yeah, you would assume if they're thinking about a replacement, it's probably not going to be Gasly, because they tried that and it didn't work. Tsunoda is not ready, so whoever it is probably in F2 now. So they would want them to have at least a year with AlphaTauri before moving them up. So, yeah, 2 years for Perez sounds about right, because you would then know if you've got the replacement or not.
Don't forget as well, like we haven't seen Red Bull in a position where they have a good car, like a really good car, since Vettel and Webber. And you know, that Vettel and Webber partnership was pretty stable. You know, that was a stable partnership for multiple years, to the point where all you need to do is think of Mark Webber and you instantly think of Red Bull. You know, he is synonymous with that team now. So I don't see why they wouldn't do that again. They've got a good car. They know they're fighting for championships now. So it's not worth their while sticking new drivers into the second car. They're not in the experimental phase. They're in the lockdowns phase where we need to try and score as many points as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it would make perfect sense. I mean, Perez is getting a hell of a lot out of the car, and he's actually showing, he's showing what he can do with the top team.
You
Yeah.
never know how things play out, though, in the driver market, do you? I mean, Verstappen could go somewhere else. Perez could dip. You always
Verstappen's there for a while, though.
Oh, I
isn't
would
he?
think so. But you never know.
He's contracted till the end of 2028?
Something
Something like
crazy
that,
like
yeah.
that.
Something ridiculous, by which time
Oh.
he'll still be in his 20s.
Yeah, obviously there's clauses in that, but
Yeah.
He's 31, isn't it? I think by the time this contract is up, which
Yeah.
is fucking crazy.
yeah. But I do believe, because don't forget, Max had the opportunity to leave Red Bull when it wasn't looking good, and Mercedes was dominating the world, and he chose to stay. He chose to stay with Red Bull, and he even was saying in interviews, that he feels it's more important for him to feel at home with a team than just go chasing the fastest car to be in. And I of all the drivers saying that, I believe him when he says it, So I just don't see, unless something awful goes on with that car, I just don't see him going anywhere for a long time.
No, I think if they end up building a shed, then that's when it might be. But the rumours come out about everyone leaving as soon as the car becomes sheddy. How many times was Alonso leaving McLaren when it was the GP2 engine?
Exactly. I think the other one, the other thing to look at with this is the Red Bull meat grinder hasn't had much use for an awful long time now.
No, they're grinding them at AlphaTauri, aren't they?
Yeah. But this is the thing, that the Red Bull meat grinder was fully in, like, really, really good working order when it was when it was Vettel and Webber, because there was there was nowhere for them to move to. I think the the AlphaTauri might become the poison chalice of Formula One again now.
Because they had this cycle, didn't they, when Vettel was champion? I think possibly that's it. They get the product that comes through their system and becomes champion, and it stops everyone that's behind them. Which, I mean, it kind of proves the system works if someone can come through and become champion in that program. But yeah, it does kind of make the point of, well, what are you going to do with all these kids?
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, you look at what the Red Bull Junior program currently is. So you got Vips, Hauger, Lawson, Daruvala, Iwasu, all in F2.
Bless you.
And
Yuri Vips, not being rude, he must be getting on now for an F2 driver to come into F1 by modern standards, because Yuri Vips is a driver that I can remember talking about 4 or 5 years ago.
So he
Latifi
got
2.0.
Yeah, he got fucked by COVID because when he did quite well in F3, rather than going to F2, he decided to go and do Super Formula in Japan the year that everything closed down. So he wasn't able to go to Japan because he had the wrong passport. So I think he ended up in something like Formula Regional Europe, or one of the, like, a few tiers below F3 series. So he essentially lost a year at what should have been his year to get into F1.
yeah, he did a split season between Formula Regional European Championship and then managed to get an F2 drive with Dams towards the end of the season.
Yeah. Oh well.
He did an FP1, didn't he? Was it in Spain? He did FP1.
Yeah, it was one of the two that they had to get a young driver in.
Yeah, it's a shame for him.
With
'cause I think
AlphaTauri or with Red Bull?
with AlphaTauri, I think.
I'll tell you in a second. With Red Bull.
Oh, with Red Bull. Okay.
He was in Checo's car.
But yeah, it's a shame for him because I think coming out of F3, he looked quite good, but it's just not quite landed for him for various reasons since, which is a shame for him. He possibly could have been instead of Tsunoda.
But the rest of the Red Bull Young program, I think they are all disposable.
Liam Lawson, it's a shame that he probably won't get the opportunity because I do think he is good. He is amazing in the wet.
I think it's the same about your Who's your ex-Ferrari guy as well? The English guy.
Callum Ilott.
Yeah, I think he deserved his shot in Formula One
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I would agree
Wrecked
with
at the
that.
Indy 500 yesterday. As did Grosjean, of course.
But Ericsson didn't hit him.
No, found the wall all by himself.
Like he did in Baku that year.
Yes.
Yeah,
Poor
but
Ericsson.
but that one wasn't under a safety car yesterday. Baku, on the other hand,
It wasn't even Ericsson that was behind him, it was fucking Leclerc, and he didn't touch him. It was the other Sauber.
right? Usual rock stars and wankers. Perez rockstar.
Yeah.
Yes. Red Bull in general, rock stars, I think, just for their performance.
Yeah.
Race stewards not being able to and not getting the show moving. When
Is
they
that
should
a
have done.
wanker?
That's in the wankers. I think that's.
Yeah.
I think it's down to the race organisers in general, rather than the stewards. Oh yeah,
I've got another bone to pick with the stewards as well. But sorry, carry on.
Actually, I just want to say the Ferrari protest and the whole bloody cut and paste thing.
Yeah, that was a bit silly. Yeah.
Ferrari putting in 2 protests about both Red Bull cars, and then after being
Accidentally forgetting to change the details.
yeah, but
Amazing.
after being shown footage of Perez not going on the line, having to withdraw it because they admitted, oh yes, he didn't.
They were 100% trying to deflect from their own fuckery, weren't they?
Oh,
Yeah.
they were trying to pull a complete fucking Boris. This was you can buy pounds of fruit. Just so we didn't get pissed and listen to ABBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Verstappen one though. If the rules had been actually written properly in 2 different places, then there may have been a penalty. But because they were written one way in the sporting code and one way in the race director's notes, they had to follow the sporting code. Which,
Well, that's good, isn't it?
Yeah, I do have an issue with that race, with the race start. I have an issue with Ferrari's protest, but the race start, rain is bad, and rain is bad on a street circuit. But yesterday, when we all saw that rain, well, I said, look, if they didn't start Spa in weather that was this bad, they sure as fuck can't start in Monaco. That's set a really weird precedent now. That they can't start a race if it's raining quite heavily,
the thing,
which is
The thing-
bollocks, because are these the 20 best drivers in the world or not?
the thing was though, it wasn't when they actually finally decided when the race start was going to be after the delayed it. It wasn't raining enough, and there wasn't enough standing water for full wet tyres. But they decided it was going to be a safety car start, so everyone had to start on full wet tyres.
My issue with it is that I don't mind them delaying the start, and I don't mind them sticking them behind the safety car even just to go and clear some water away. I think the decision to make it so you can start behind, you can run a few laps behind a safety car and then do a standing start, I think is a fine, fabulous rule. You know, it's saved the start of multiple Formula One races now. But there was a point there when not only was that track ready to race on, it was clearly ready for a standing start as well. And it's just, I know we have the issue with the lights and stuff. Fine. Fucking say there's an issue with the lights. Postpone the race for another 15 minutes and fucking sort it out.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, there probably would have been some kind of accident, but that's how it goes. It's racing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't avoid every kind of incident and accident. I did totally agree with Martin Brundle, and sometimes he can sound like a bit like a dinosaur. So I totally understand if some people listening feel like my comments are a bit outdated too. But the throttle pedal does work both ways. You can come off of it as well as go on it.
That's where
And
the
it's
skill is.
Yeah, and it's whoever gets round and keeps their car in one piece is the victor. And that might have been Pierre fucking Gasly. That might have been Lance Stroll. Probably not. But that's the kind of thing I mean, at the end of the day, we got 1, 2, 3, 4 Red Bull, Ferrari, Red Bull, Ferrari. I mean, you might have got that if the race had stayed completely dry.
Yeah.
The whole thing is with these wet races is that they do throw up these kind of things where, oh my God, like that guy stuck it in a wall. He never crashes in the wet.
Yeah.
And, oh my God, it's lap 1 and the driver who's out is Lewis Hamilton. He's put his Mercedes into the barrier. Then obviously that's when you can throw a red flag and, do whatever it is you need to do. But on the other side of the same coin, you've got to make sure everyone's safe. And that includes marshals as well as drivers, etc. You can't have a car, careering off the circuit into a marshal's post, because they lost control.
Did you see
What?
Did you see the one that did at the at the Nürburgring 24 at the weekend? That was terrifying.
No, I didn't. But when you've got marshals posts that close to the circuit, I understand it. But at the same time, there's a balance in the middle. Find the balance. Don't always like. Remember why you're there. You're there to race.
Yeah. Two things. Apart from the fact I know there's a set time which the race can go on, but I just mean this on a safety standpoint. If Belgium 98 happened now, that race wouldn't go ahead.
No.
If Canada 2011 happened, that race wouldn't go ahead. And we would have been robbed of 2 amazing races with 2 fucking crazy outcomes that will go down in the history of the sport. I believe that don't get me wrong, I realized the guy made some fucking mistakes. If Michael Massey had been the race director this weekend, that race would have gone ahead. Ocon wouldn't have got a penalty. And we seem to have drifted back from moving away from this, and we went into a let them race type of scenario where they were sort of banging and clattering wheels a little bit, and it was like, oh well, okay, just it's that is what it is. We'll just give a warning here and there. We've now fell back into that thing where if someone tries something, they get penalised for it.
Michael Massey never decided penalties. He just referred them to the race stewards if he had to.
Yeah.
And it was Derek Warwick again this weekend, who was the driver steward from Abu Dhabi last year.
For the first time since Abu Dhabi last year.
Yeah.
But that'll be why fucking Ocon got a penalty then. Because if there is fucking anything Derek Warwick is good at, he's good at being a fucking penis warmer for Lewis Hamilton.
Well, no, he owns a Honda dealership, so I think he hates Renault as well. Giovinazzi Participation Award.
Yuki Tsunoda?
Could be Williams. Just all of Williams.
The Automobile Club of Monte Carlo?
No, because they didn't really participate. They made sure everything was in place and then ran away.
Well, they made sure that everything was nearly in place and ran away. They just forgot to put the waterproofing on. Williams is a good shout.
I just want to say the crazy Monaco race with the rain, 96. There's that rain was similar to how it was to my memory, to how it was in 96 when Olivier Panis won that race from 13th, 14th on the grid.
Something daft like that. And Mika Salo got in the points on a no-stopper.
Yeah, he didn't stop. And didn't he finish 4th out of the 4 finishers?
Yeah.
There were only 4 finishers of the race and he wasn't on the podium.
I think that's it, isn't it? Because the answer to this would be, that's, that they were old cars, modern Formula 1 cars, it's more difficult to drive them. Well, fix it. you're trying to fix the overtaking thing, then fix the fact that we can't race in the rain properly.
Yeah, I think we said, like, didn't we, last time after when Belgium didn't happen last year, like, there needs to be a
and yet we
place.
still got 2 hours out of that podcast. I cannot work out for the life of me how.
But there needs to
Ranting.
be a procedure in place, doesn't there? There needs to be something where it says, right, okay, it's too wet to start this race under normal conditions. Everybody must start this race on a set ride height to clear the water, and with a set aero package to make sure you've got enough downforce to keep yourself planted on the racetrack as best as possible. Some kind of procedure like that, so nobody really loses out. It's just like, okay, right, it's extreme wet weather conditions. Everybody has to, like they made them start on the wet weather tires, like behind the safety car. Make them go full downforce. You have to adjust your wings for full downforce with whatever setup you've got today. You need as much downforce as possible, and your ride height must be a minimum of whatever. At the beginning of the race, you've got an extra 15 minutes to sort it out, and that's when the race is starting, regardless of what the weather's doing. And then everything's equalised. You go out on the circuit. Yeah, okay, it totally fucks your setup because it's not a setup you've used for the whole weekend. But everyone's in the same position, and the cars are racing.
Somebody did find a way of complaining, saying, it's more fair to another team. They were more prepared for it than we were.
Do you think it should be a vote? And do you think there should be an anonymous driver vote?
Like a ballot?
Yeah.
I think, listening to what the drivers were saying, they felt it was too wet to continue racing. But as I say, in those conditions, with those setups, if you'd said, right, you've got to use these, you've got to have this, and you've got to have this, you now go out there and do the best you can. It's an equaliser for everyone, isn't it?
For the record, I do think, at its worst, I think it was too wet to race.
There was a lot of standing water, wasn't
Yeah.
there? It really did get very wet very quickly.
Yeah, and I think at the point you've got rivers, like when you got rivers on the road.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything you can do there. I don't think there's any set of changes you can do. I don't think you can make the tires any better to make that workable. But very quickly after they came in, that was ready to go. It was ready to go racing. And round about the time Verstappen was saying, "I don't understand why we're not going out now." It was time to go.
Well, as it turns out, there was no power.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be severely looked at. Now, Monaco doesn't have a contract for next year, and I think there's going to be some serious negotiating being done.
They're going to have to pay more, I think.
That would be pay.
Yeah.
No, they pay. They got the lowest fee out of any racetrack on the calendar. You'd be surprised to hear, I'm sure. But it's something like 12 million euros that they pay, which is ridiculously low.
I didn't even think it was that much. I thought it was about half that.
I'm pretty sure I read over the weekend that it's about 12 million euros is what they pay.
And obviously they get to do things their own way as well.
Yeah, like Formula One has very little control over what happens at the race in Monaco.
Yeah, which is why I think Domenicali needs to come down hard on them.
I'm just saying, we're going to repeat my sentiment from earlier. Formula One was okay the year it didn't go to Monaco.
You are right, and it will be fine. And you know what? I probably won't even miss it if it's gone. But I think it should be around.
We never go, so we wouldn't. It's all out of TV coverage for us, isn't it? Obviously, if any major benefactors are out there and want to get us to every race, then please drop us a line. 3legs4wheels.
Yeah.
3legs4wheels at gmail.com.
I mean, ideally, what we would like to do is be at every race and do a podcast after the race from somewhere near the circuit.
Because you're not allowed to do it at the circuit.
No. Somewhere near the circuit, in a hotel lobby or a bar or something like that, somewhere nearby, and hopefully pick up the opinions of a few fans whilst we were out. That would be ideal. But no, here we are on the Isle of Man.
But we've got our own racing to look forward to this week.
This is true.
Yeah, we do. There is that. Otherwise, we'd have missed out perhaps some of today's, atmosphere soaking up. I've just read something somewhere that's just, we were talking earlier on about Primal Scream and the bass is coming through. Can you hear anything right now?
Not
No.
at the moment, no.
No.
No, I think they might have gone home early because nobody went.
That's hilarious.
Oh dear. Well, they were charging, what was it, 65 quid a ticket?
It was
69.
It was 69 rings a bell, and I think when we went to see them at the Villa about 5 years ago, it was 35.
Yeah.
Oh, hello. I might be
Yeah,
able to hear
so-
bass.
I can't hear anything currently, but apparently there's really not very many people on a Monday night watching Primal Scream.
Interesting. Oh, they're probably all over the road by the Bee Gees statue, watching it for not 69 quid.
Yeah, well, that's... yeah.
Myself and a couple of colleagues did go up to the grandstand today to collect our media passes, and we did drive past Bobby Gillespie, who was just minding his own business, wandering along the prom.
Or on his own planet. Right. I think that about does us for this week, doesn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, I have no more pearls of wisdom.
No. We may be back next week, depending on how things go with TT. Obviously, it's the busiest time of year for the island. We're gonna put some kind of TT thing together over the next fortnight. We're filming a lap of a track guide on Thursday.
Well,
all being
it's-
well. We're doing a lap of the track, and we'll be doing little bits on individual sections if we get a chance.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a project that we've been planning on doing for the last 3 years, 4 years.
5 years,
Yeah,
6 years.
yeah, a long time.
To be fair, it's been difficult for the last 2 years.
Yeah, for the last 2 years, it's it has been slightly tricky, but we'll be out and about with the camera on Thursday morning and maybe Friday as well, depending if we need to do it in 2 goes. If you want to get access to the show early and for one to the extra Patreon show that we do, because we had a bit of a recorded chat before the podcast tonight, just go to patreon.com/3legs4wheels and you can sign up there from one major currency unit a month. I'm trying to find an easy way to say £1, €1 or $1, and it just doesn't trip off the tongue easily. Like I said, if you want to get in touch with us for anything, especially gifts of travel tickets and an opportunity for us to go on tour, then you can email us 3legs4wheels@gmail.com and at 3legs4wheels on all the regular socials. And individually on Twitter we are.
At Sean Cowper.
At Flood21.
At A Total Shunt.
And at Pablo100. Right, we'll see you at some point in the next fortnight, I would expect. Maybe next week, maybe the week after. But until then, see you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.